Good afternoon, and welcome to the 2025 annual meeting of St. Paul Lutheran Church. That's for the YouTube viewers to know who we are. In order for any business we transact to be binding, we have two requirements. We have to notify the congregation at least 2 weeks in advance, which we did via the poem, church bulletins, and in person. We also have to have a quorum of our confirmed members. According to the ELCA, we have 275 confirmed members. Therefore, 28 people are sufficient to serve as a quorum. We have at least 35 people here, so that's satisfied as well. Therefore, I will call the meeting to order and open the devotion from Dan.
Let us pray. We give thanks to you, Heavenly Father, for the rest and peace of this holy day in which we remember all your benefits and seek your face, for all the signs of your goodness in our homes and our lives, especially in the congregation we serve, called St. Paul, for all the goodness which you have bestowed upon us through brothers and sisters in the faith, for the guarding grace with which you have watched over our bodies and preserved us in times of trial and trouble, for fellowship with all who call upon your name, for the goodness that continually greets and blesses us in the gifts of your creation, even in the midst of snows, for the greatest of all gifts which you have bestowed upon us in Jesus Christ, and for the hope in which we begin this meeting in his name. For these and all other gifts, we give you thanks, O God, our Heavenly Father. Amen.
Thank you, Dan. The pages 1 through 7 of the report are the minutes of last year's meeting. They were reviewed and approved by the council early in the year. Nothing really to be changed at this point. Then off to page 8. Dan, do you want to do pastoral action and monthly attendance? Okay, that's good. Page 8.
Yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory. I think all of the pastoral acts for the year and all of the average monthly attendance information, the bottom line there is the average attendance, Sunday attendance per Sunday, was almost exactly the same as it was the year before. 2024, 2025, like 97, 98, somewhere along in there. So anyway, one thing I will point out is the Sunday school and adult forum attendance for 2025 was 10% higher than the previous year.
All right, Dan, ask you while you're there. Interim pastor report.
Okay. I just want to point out a couple things, mostly forward-looking. All the other things you can review. The different things is my responsibility as interim pastor. I've tried to list those under the job responsibilities for interim pastor. But what I want to anticipate is a couple things just going into 2026, some of the pastoral priorities and also council priorities. The first meaning provide a new member class in the first quarter of 2026. That starts next week at 9:40, so keep that in mind. Second thing is there will be some work to clarify and update the membership roll. There's been an ongoing conversation since I've been here about that, and we will be doing some outreach to people who we don't see as much around to determine how they see themselves going forward as members or not. So there'll be some correspondence with them to do that. The third thing is to step up efforts with evangelism, publicity, and hospitality. I won't steal the thunder of the evangelism committee, but I will say look out for Lent and Easter for an emphasis on that. So pay attention to midweek services in Lent and also an effort that we're putting together for Easter Sunday. And fourthly, we're in the process of updating the congregation's constitution. There's some things that we need to get up to speed with that. So those are some of the priorities. as we move forward into this year. I want to say a word of thanks, especially to Laura Hauk-Welzer for her work in putting together the booklet again. It's one of the few things that we have of record to keep record of what our congregation has done throughout the course of the year, and it's one of the main resources for writing a history of the congregation. So I want to thank her, and I would please help convey that to her for her work in compiling and proofreading and putting all this together. And finally, our illustrious president, Stan McDonald, will be completing after this meeting today 3 years of service to our Lord and the congregation as president of the congregation during a challenging time, a time of transition, and there's no telling how much behind the scenes work that Stan does on behalf of all of us. So as a token of appreciation, I want to present a sign of our appreciation to you, Stan, for all of your work, both in front of us but also behind the scenes, consistently for a period of 3 years. So.
Thanks very much, Stan. Thank you very much.
And if anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to do the best I can with them. One of the things you may or may not know, the council knows, is that interim pastors enter a contract for a period of time with the Synod Council to serve for the congregation. And my current contract is all the way through to the end of November. Now, I hope I won't necessarily be here that long, but that's what the contract says. So anyway, God willing, I'll continue to serve in the best way I know how. I want to say two things. Number one is this is a well-organized congregation in terms of the different committees and the balance of the different ministries, and we're grateful for the leadership with all of the different ministries. And I'm grateful for the fact that we're getting the evangelism ministry up to speed with all the others. So that's one thing. The second thing I want to say is in my 36 years as a parish pastor, this congregation, I would have to say, I'm not trying to massage your egos or anything, but this is one of the most emotionally intelligent congregations I've ever served in terms of the way in which you work together and navigate your differences and your diversity of opinions and the way in which different people go about different things. So I'm grateful to God for that gift to this congregation, which I think is a gift which a new pastor will really appreciate. So that's good for now. Any other questions or concerns? Good. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Dan. I'm not going to read my report. It's in the document. Just mentioned, COVID was a real inflection point in many areas, church attendance, church membership, and also giving. It's just the reality. We seem to have stabilized with our, at least the last couple of years, with attendance, 97, 98 people. Not bad. And we still are getting people on YouTube as well. So we're holding our own. This year we had a little shock in income. We had a fairly substantial shortfall in income this year. Fortunately, we made up most of it with spending. We also underspent spending. But for the first time, I looked back at some older reports. For the first time, we had to actually draw money from other sources to balance our budget. In the past, we've done this intentionally because remember we had field ed students for many years. We funded them through Raising Up Leaders Fund. We had Pastor Lydia. She started with our PPP program instead because she wasn't in the budget yet. We had a Hispanic outreach ministry many years ago, same thing. So these were expected expenses that weren't budgeted. This year, we fell short by a little less than $2,000, as you'll see later on in the reports are given. We expect a slight deficit this year as well, but I think we'll probably cover it with expending. We'll see how it goes. Pretty much it. As Dan mentioned, this is my last year as president. I really, again, this has for me been a great opportunity to be on the council. I really thank you for voting me to the council, and I thank the council for getting the opportunity to be president as well. This is actually my 10th year as president over 5 terms. So you should be really tired of me by now. But I think I followed the path of Bob Baer. He was the model. He was my mentor in this area too. So this was all, this is all. I'm still following Bob's agenda and Bob's plan. So really appreciate his mentorship in that time. So it's been a very positive thing for me. Also, we've had, again, between Pastor Egan and Pastor Dan, we could not have been served by better people also as well. So all credit to them as well. All right, moving along. Our next report is Christian Ed.
Hi, I'm Karen Repka. I'm taking the place of Christine Forte, who could not be here today, who is our chair. I do want to start off by thanking our committee members. As I said, Christine Forte is our chair, Diane Cox, Julie Egan, Karen Klingeman, myself, Lois Teichman, and Pastor Dan Whitener. And this year we had Sunday school, 44 registered students, ages 3 through grade 10. I want to thank the teachers, Diane Cox, Ayaska Egan, Julie Egan, Samantha Forte, Christine Forte, Camilla Hummel, Karen Klingeman, Melanie McDonald, myself, Madison Seminario, Jeff Teichman, Lois Teichman, Brittany Turkoff, and Jill Westerberg. And especially thanks to Pastor Dan Whitener for leading our adult Bible study and adult forum. I also want to thank our youth ministers of music, Christian Humke and Elise Daner, who worked with the littlest ones. This year we started a special service project, our God's Global Barnyard. We have met our goal through help through the congregation. However, we'd like to continue to work with the students to help them develop a sense of stewardship and outreach. So we encourage them to still bring in their coins, their dollars, whatever, through the rest of the year. And we'll try to emphasize in the classroom how that money will be used. We did see an increase in our Sunday school attendance this year. We had an average of 47 people, but that includes adult. But my guess is that we have about 30 regular Sunday school students. They may not be here every week, but those are our core. And I look at churches and I hear of churches who have absolutely no children, no Sunday school. And it just scares me to think what the future of our church is if this happens. And that's why I have been so personally involved in pushing so hard for some of our special adult youth programs. Certainly our pageant. We had over 50 participants. That includes adults as well. Very successful. And this last summer, we had our Crossroads version of VBS, which we will continue again this year. Last year we had 17 children in the camp, 6 of whom were not from member families, so we began an outreach, and 5 St. Paul's teenagers who helped out. We do have to pay the camp to come. It costs $1,500. We have already given a $500 deposit. We are probably going to charge the same amount we did last year, $100 per child. It's a full-day program from 9 to 3. If you feel inclined to sponsor a child, that would be wonderful, or just to contribute to the fund so that we do not have to be pulling from our church budget any more than necessary. But the week for this coming year is already booked. It's July 13th through 17th. You can put that on your calendars, and we'll be getting that information out to everybody very shortly. Registration will probably start in March. We'll be reaching out to the community as well. So Prince of Peace will also be supporting us like they did last year by providing housing and meals for the staff, which was last year we had a staff of 5. This year also for educational activities, we had a Holy Week workshop, which we'll have again this year. We had our Advent workshop as well, and coming up in May, there will be our first Holy Communion for 5 children. 5 children, and the rite of communion for 17s in the end of May. So please look for those dates as we go along. So again, thank you for all your support to our youth and to our to our adults in our Christian education efforts. And please join in and come try a program you haven't done before. Sign up for adult forum or we have 2 opportunities for Bible study. It's on Zoom on Monday nights and in person on Tuesday mornings. So we'll be, I don't know when that'll start up, but we'll just keep an eye on the poem. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Karen. Next is Christian Fellowship. I can't see a thing, so here we go.
You want to move over again?
Go back where it was. We're going to go back this way. We've already moved this once, so we're going to come back the other way now. Okay, there we go.
Hello, everyone. I'm Susan Engelbert, co-chair of Christian Fellowship, along with Kathy Green. You can't hear me? Tip it up. Can you hear me now? Okay. Yay. Susan Engelbert, co-chair of Christian Fellowship, along with Kathy Green. I don't really have much to add that's not in the report, but I want to thank the members of our committee, as well as to thank all of our fellowship hosts for this past year. We really appreciate it. And to encourage anyone who hasn't yet to sign up for this year, just to ensure continuity of our coffee hour, which everybody loves. We are a small committee, and most of us have been serving on the committee for quite a few years. We are very open to suggestions on new events or activities that we might plan. We're even more open to new members. If you are interested in either of those, please contact Kathy, myself, or any other members of the committee. Thank you.
Thanks, Susan. And next, evangelism. Skip.
Okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? All right. First of all, I just am happy to report that after several years of not having an evangelism committee, we've reconstituted one. And a lot of that's been the leadership of our interim pastor here. And, we had our first official meeting in December, which was where we kind of organized what we wanted, not really what we wanted to do. And then we've had meetings since that time that where we're looking to plan. So I'd like to emphasize one thing, though. It's not that we haven't that we have ignored evangelism efforts at St. Paul completely in recent years. We have not. We've been very, very fortunate in this congregation to have excellent committees. The standing committees in this congregation are just great, in my opinion. And a lot of that then feeds into what evangelism is. We've got to have a church that people are willing to support and to come to, and those committees are very involved in that, at least indirectly. The other thing I wanted to point out, though, that I think is important, in getting this thing off the ground, I did some work on the elca.org site
and they have a whole section on evangelism. And in conjunction with you, Carol, when you came up with some of that information from is it the New York Synod? Yeah. What's very important about evangelism also is the business aspect of the church, in terms of having a good financial condition, which we do. And one of the other things that popped out at me that I didn't even think about was no mortgage, So mortgages tend to drag down certain congregations at times. And so in our case, we put that to rest several years back, and it was really a very good move. So we, in our most recent meetings, got together and started talking about what can we do. Well, we had a lot of ideas. The council got to read, I guess, the report that Carol Larson put together. And we have, listed a bunch of things that are kind of on the, to-do list at some point in time. But what we did focus on, and Pastors has already mentioned this to a certain degree, is that we want to emphasize the Holy Week and Lenten season for attracting people into the church, right? So we think it's very important to do that. It's one thing to have great committees and great people that we already have, but it's another thing to attract new people, and we feel it's important for that to be a focus. So you saw the first of one of many things that will probably happen here, and when Pastor handed out the invitations to pick up, and I truly hope you look at doing that, so that we invite people to our church. And I know that's not easy, and I'll be the first to tell you that I don't, really get that. It's not that easy for me to do. So I understand it, but it's something we have to do, and it's something. It's if people say no, they say no. But if we can get people coming into this church, I think it'll help us grow in a lot of different ways. We won't be talking about the budget perhaps as much is one thing, but more importantly is that they're learning about the Word of God, and that's really what evangelism is all about. I tend to look at things from more of a business perspective at times, and look at it from a practical point of view and types of activities or things that we could provide. And I'm sorry I'm not looking this way. I'm trying to turn this way to get my eyes over here. But we need to look at this from that perspective. So pretty much all I have to say. In closing, the most important thing is recognizing our committee. All right. So the list is probably on that list. I had in the meeting notice there, but Pastor Whitener, of course, Karen Galley. I see Karen's here. Phil Green is not. He's on a cruise someplace in the South Caribbean. Yeah. Well, he's our foreign agent. And Carol, of course, we mentioned. Greg Westfall is sitting here, and so I think that any help we can have, or anybody that's interested in joining us, we'd appreciate it, because there's a lot of work to be done. A lot of things opportunities that we have for creating ways to invite people, not just what we're focusing on for the Lenten period and the Holy Week period, which is to get people to invite them. But that's important. We have to have that. We can't be afraid to ask people, and I think we'll have better success if we do. Any questions? So it wasn't hard, right, Carol?
What?
I'm looking for testimony from you. It wasn't hard to invite those people, right? All right. So,
Another
any more
person came,
questions?
too, with you one time with your friends.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Skip. Next, the Finance Committee. Who will speak for the Finance Committee? Nobody will speak for the Finance Committee? The numbers speak for themselves. Yeah, you'll see the report later on. This is fine. She did mention we did fall shy of income below budget. We also underspent as well, so it doesn't sound quite as bad as it looks from this number here. Okay, moving along then, the Memorial Garden trustees. Tom, right?
Afternoon all. The report is in front of you. Stays pretty much consistent year to year. I really don't have too much to add to it. Just want to thank the trustees, Sharon Lachard, Diane Cox, Dan Egan, Lori Hunter, Kathy Smith-Gall, and Pastor Dan Whitener. We had our annual service of remembrance. The 3 interments this year, Carl Bystrom, Renata Hensler, and Greg Coveney. We thank the congregation for the support of this ministry, mainly on the 3 days noted: Mother's Day, Father's Day, and All Saints Sunday. Our vendors that we use for the maintenance and upkeep are consistent year to year: New Jersey Irrigation, Garden Artisans. This year we added JT Power Washing. We cleaned the brick surface, the pavers, and W.E. Baum of Freehold for the plaques. There was 1 plaque removed, as noted. And if you need documents or interested in having your cremains interred into the garden, you can check with the church secretary, the pastor, or anybody on the committee, or any one of the trustees, let's say. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Next is Minister of Music. Christian?
Good afternoon, everybody. So I have my report here on page 19. You can read about the various groups that are contributing to worship here, but I want to thank especially the senior choir members and the bell choir members. It's also really nice to work with the kids, with the Children's Chimes Choir, which I do each Sunday, 9:40 to 10. I want to thank also Maria for her involvement in the services and providing anthems. Last year we had a concert held here, Saturday, May 3rd, for the Beauty of the Earth, where it was Maria and her friends that put on a program, and we're looking to do something similar this year, so you can stay tuned for that. But beyond those things, the rest should be written here. Does anybody have any questions? Thank you very much.
Okay, Christian, thank you. Next, we have the Pastoral Call Committee. Paul Neuhauser.
Hi, everybody. I'll give you the most recent update, but first I want to thank everybody on our team: Chester Drago, Christine Forte, Dana Jamette, Teresa Riley, and Bonnie Stanley. It's been great to work with all of you. Such spiritually mature people that bring different ideas, have different questions, different experiences to each meeting and each time we meet a candidate. It's really great working with you guys. And of course, thanks to Pastor Dan for allowing us to do this the right way and follow all the guidelines and take the proper amount of time to do this. I know this is a very slow process. We have rules we have to follow from the synod. We have procedures that we have to do, and there's a right way to go about this search, and we're doing that. We had one candidate a couple months back that we decided to pass on. We are going to be interviewing another candidate a week from tomorrow, so that'll be our second candidate. That was the big update. So we do have people coming to us. I'm hoping, I always thought we were an attractive congregation for a pastor. I think the synod thinks so as well, and they've been very good to work with. We work closely with them too. We update them on everything. They give us updates and things we need to do. So thanks for your patience. I know this is slow. We want a pastor, no offense, Dan, we want a pastor, a permanent pastor, so to speak, but this needs to be done the right way, and I'm proud to say we're doing it that way. Any questions? No? Okay, I'll keep you updated. Keep your eye on the poem, and periodically during the service I'll do an announcement. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask myself or anyone on our committee. We can answer, like I said before, we can answer a lot of general questions, but we do have to protect the privacy of the candidates for their sake. Thanks.
Thanks, Paul. Next, we have the Property Committee. Neil?
Hi, I'm Neil Klingeman. I'm the property chairman. I've been, fortunately, years ago, Stan passed over the president from when he was on the committee council. He got me to be the chairman of the property group. That was 13 years ago. So I've been doing that ever since. And of course,
Neil retired, and it was all over then. We had him.
My wife wonders sometimes if I'm here more often than I am at home doing stuff. So anyway, I wanted to thank Stan, Glenn, George, and Phil, who's traveling. They're on our property committee, and they bring a lot of knowledge to the group. And we have a diverse group of people that help us try to figure out what to do. This year I've written a lot of the stuff in here, and I'm not going to go through it all, but I did want to thank Laura. Laura's that person in the office that'll coordinate with me or get things to get people in, get parts ordered. She does a lot of those things that are a little bit extra, and she does a fantastic job. And then I have Sharon, who keeps track of a lot of that stuff for me and lets me know how we're doing financially and with the contracts and looking for the different things. So that always helps. We have some nice discounts for prepaying some things, 5% off here, 5% off there, and that helps. And then especially want to thank IESCA. You know, when everybody comes to the church, visitors and anybody using the church, the first thing they say is, what a wonderful, clean, beautiful facility we have. And that always makes me proud too, that we're all contributing to doing that. So, and there has been some other volunteers this year that have stepped up and come to our committee and helped fix some different items, and still they're working on it now. And I wanted to thank them also. We've had this year a major issue with our air conditioning heating in this building. It's 16 years old. And we had half the system we lost, and it was quite expensive. So we're looking this next year to see if we can do some with the energy programs. We're going to get an energy study and do a couple things to see if we can get some money from outside. But keep looking at that, of what we need to do. There's always things going on in the church, things happening just like your house. The front door stuck this week because of the cold. The concrete raised up and it's jamming that door, so don't want to do anything until the weather gets down a little bit. Thermostat failed in the fellowship hall Thursday, Friday. Pastor and I were over here Saturday figuring out how we're going to get heat in there for the meeting. So a lot of things go on behind the scenes, and a lot of people help. So anybody has any questions at all or would like to come to our committee meetings, we meet the third Wednesday of every month, and we probably do 9 meetings a year, so we're always welcoming people to come. If you have any questions now.
Actually, a question there. How many apps do you have on your phone to track all this stuff?
Actually, the thermostats, the
Leak Smart, right?
yeah, the Leak Smart. But we actually have a system that, just so you know, we have 9 different sensors around the church that tell us if we have a water leak. Because if you remember, for those that have been here a long time, we lost over the men's restroom. The pipes broke. $40-something thousand later of repairs.
Oh, yeah, it was
And actually, we
disaster.
find that they work. They do a great job. The other week, 2 weeks ago, Pastor called me up. I'm at the doctor's. He called me up and he says, "We got no water." And Laura called the city. So I look on my app, as you said, and sure enough, we had the boiler room. We had a leak off a valve from the water heater. It was a recirculating valve that started leaking onto the floor, shut off the water in the place, did what it was supposed to. We've had that happen a couple times. So those are things. The other apps we have are the cameras where we can see who does what outside, if things are going on. You know, when they're doing the snow plowing, we can check how long and all those activities that go on. And it really helps. And it helps us know if somebody's in the area or looking at the church. So those things all keep us aware of things. So yeah, I have quite a few apps on the phone for the church. Yes?
Can you tell us a little bit more about the outside pavilion, what that is?
We were asked to look at items that if we had a future list, we looked at possibly for the church to be more inviting. If we had an outside pavilion to use for during the summer for church services, for a barbecue, you know, like a barbecue area, not something really, you know, spending a lot of money on, but a large area with a roof, maybe some water, electricity, have the barbecues, or we could have activities for the kids outside. So it's on our wish list. Anything else? Thank you.
Thanks, Neil. Next, we have social ministry. Karen.
Hi there. My first order of business is to thank all of you for all of your donations, all of your the money that you brought in, the food you've brought in, the clothing, anything that we ask for. And we couldn't be a social ministry committee without that. And I just want to let you know that any time that you bring something in or we ask for something, that item, those items go directly to who we're asking for. And they are forever grateful. And we've had many, I don't know if you've noticed, but we've had many thank you notes from the organizations just so that you can see that we have fulfilled our promise to them from you. So, that being said, I thank my committee, Elise, Ken, Lori, Karen, anybody else? Oh yeah, well, the people that aren't here. And Kathy Green, Judy Tabasco, and Elvira Diefenbach, Diane Erga. So if anybody has any questions, you can see all the community support that we have provided through the year. And if anybody has any insight as to anybody else we can help, we will certainly look into that. If anybody else wants to help, you're more than welcome. Then we do have the 2 campaigns going right now, the Soup for Super Bowl next week and Unity for a variety of items that you can pick up a sheet at the narthex. Any questions? Sue? Yes. In order to get a grant from Thrivent, you have to be a member of Thrivent and have some money in Thrivent. Thrivent is a, is it a fiduciary? Fraternal benefits organization. So what they don't get taxed, but they give the money back in return as like a tax donation. So we have to use our members, and they apply for a Thrivent Action Card, a maximum of $250 per transaction. So every time we have an appeal, what we do is we have somebody in charge. We have a program manager. I'll take Elise, for instance. She was our project manager for Super Bowl. So Elise applied for a $250 Thrivent Action Card. And we've done it so many times before that it almost comes up instantly that we do get it. And she can go shopping for an extra $250 worth of soup. So you'll see all that in the kitchen if you go in there right now. But anytime we have a project like that, we apply for a card. Iesca is gracious enough to search out good prices for turkeys for us for Thanksgiving baskets for St. Bart's. And we get Dana, Jemet, and Iesca also get $250. So we have $500 worth of money to get turkeys for the Thanksgiving baskets. So you have to be a member, and you can go onto the Thrivent website to figure out how to invest with Thrivent. We have several people, and you get 2 projects a year that you can apply for. So each person who has a Thrivent membership can apply for 2. If you're a husband and wife or kids or whatever, everybody in that family has 2 opportunities to get extra money. So that helps with a lot of our donations. I'm sorry? Yeah, the only one we really don't apply for is the Head Start, because those are individual gifts for only 30 people or so, 30 kids. So that we wouldn't be able to use it effectively. But diapers and wipes, paper goods, any kind of food, we try to get the best benefit out of it that we can. Thanks for asking. Anything else? Thank you. Keep on giving.
Nice card. Next is stewardship. Walter.
Hello, everybody. I'll just touch on a few things in the Stewardship Committee report. Our campaign for this past fall was Growing in My Giving. It has not been our habit in the past to specifically ask the members of the congregation to increase their giving towards specific things, but this year we decided to do that. Our campaign was focused on our financial support for St. Paul Lutheran Church in 4 specific areas: to sustain our present level of church-wide support, to provide $10,000 in additional funds to ensure adequate support for calling a new pastor, to bolster our church ministries by $5,000, and to increase our property budget by $5,000. You can see the results, that the number of pledges increased from the previous year from 62 up to 67. The total dollar amount pledged increased from approximately $312,000 up to $329,000, which is a 5.5% increase. So we were happy to see those results. Thank you to all of you for pledging to this past year's campaign. It really means so much to our church and especially to our finance committee to be able to plan for 2026. Thank you very much to Laura, our church secretary, who did so much hard work in getting our communications out. And we were very happy to have 2 new additions to our committee, Kathy Kudelek and Pastor Dan. So thank you very much to both of you for joining the committee. If anyone out there is interested in joining the stewardship committee, we'd be very happy to have some new additions. It's not as daunting as I'm sure you all think it is. Is that right, Kathy? And then thank you very much to the rest of our regular crew, Ken Branson, Skip Cox, and Stan McDonald. There aren't any questions, are there? Sorry, any questions? Okay, thank you.
I just want to comment how important pledging is and what a great advantage provides to us. It's a real challenge to put the budget together. Pledging is the one fund we can count on. Last year, we received 99.4% of the pledged income arrived. That's really impressive. People who make their pledges keep their promises. Last year, in 2025, we had 100 different identifiable giving units, people who either provide checks or where they get envelopes. Pledged income was 93% of that giving. So it's really critical to us. Having 5 more people is a big deal. We have a broad range of pledges. The difference between the highest and lowest is a factor of 100, but even at the lower level, people keep their promises. Very important. I think we can really encourage people to pledge. It doesn't hurt. The problem is you have to give and you don't come. People who only come periodically only give when they come. But the church is here all the time. All the things we've done, you saw the thing from Karin's presentation, as well as education. We do a lot of really, really good stuff, and we do it every day. And hopefully people will recognize the importance of this church in terms of the community as well as ourselves, and pledge income and keep their promises. Okay, moving along. Yeah, go ahead. Sure. Yes. Yeah. Well, I agree. If you give tithe through Tithely, it's online, you create an account. We'll have that, put something in the poem about that to reinforce people. The cost is 25 cents per transaction plus 0.5% of what you give, which is pretty low, pretty cheap compared to what it costs you to go buy gasoline, what they add for paying by credit card there. By credit, a little more expensive, Amex even more so, but if you go through your bank, it's really a pretty low expense. And like Paul said, you can schedule it. You can also give to other funds besides your budget. You can give we have all the funds listed because of hunger and relief and so on. They're all listed as well. So you can do your pledge plus your gifts all through Tithely. So it's very now Tithely is something new I have to look into. They have some kind of giving button. It's basically a QR code that you put. They say put it in your collection plate. You pass it around and people can click. I don't know how it's going to happen, but there are other options to make that even more effective. So we're going to look into some of that too.
I don't know if this is the right time to say this, but just even tack on the QR codes. I was in Febraury with my wife a few weeks back. They have QR codes on the back of every pew.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
and in the bulletin.
Yeah.
My previous parish had the QR code in the bulletin.
Yeah, and it's right here. So
I actually have gotten the QR code. We'll go put that somewhere, so we'll see if that works. So, yeah. It's actually they're scary looking, but all they are is 2-dimensional barcodes. So they look frightening, but they're not as bad as it looks. So, okay. Well, thanks, Paul. It's a good comment. Moving along, then I guess next is worship music. Is that right? Yeah.
Last but not least of the committee reports. The report is there. I hope you'll take time to read it. I have a few comments. 2 Sundays ago, we had no church. Last Sunday, we had YouTube church. Thanks to Pastor, Christian, Maria, and I forgot. Avery. I'm sorry. Avery, and we thank them that we were able to worship by YouTube. It was kind of COVID all over again, COVID Sunday all over again. But today we had church with a capital C. It was good to be back in the sanctuary worshiping together. And when we worship together, we depend on many individuals to pull it together. Altar care, greeters, lectors, choirs, ushers, AV crew, and pew people. We need you all. And especially a special thank you to Stan McDonald and Glenn Rentschler who are always in the back there, counting heads, dimming lights, working the microphone, doing anything that needs to be done to enhance the service. So thank you. I would like to thank those that head up our subcommittees that get you volunteers to work. We have Altar Care Melanie McDonald, Greeters Sue Westerberg at 8:30 and Dana Jumet at 11, Lectors myself, Music Ministry Christian Humke, the Czech team Jan Egan, and Ushers Kathy Kudalak. Thank you all that you do to make things run smoothly. And we also have Brittany Turkoff, the nursery coordinator who works with our nursery attendant, Gabriella. With Brittany working with her, it makes the nursery run smoothly, so we're thankful for that. Christian mentioned the 2 concerts that we had last year. And we, as he said, we hope to have them again this year, and I hope that you will support them. And I want to give a special shout out to Donna Hummel. She's not here, but she made us 2 beautiful fair linen altar cloths. The one is here this past year. If you haven't seen them up close, take a look at her exquisite work. It's just beautiful. And then communion bread is back. And I want to thank Elise Daner and Joan Larson for baking the bread. And the confirmation class also did it one Sunday. And on the cover of the annual report is a picture of them with their plastic caps. I bet they loved wearing those. But they had a lot of fun making the bread. There were many thank yous in my article, but I do have to give a special thank you to Pastor Dan for being here for us as interim pastor, and Christian, our minister of music, with those magical hands, and Maria Bosna for her beautiful voice that enhances YouTube worship each Sunday. We are blessed to have you. And I am blessed with a wonderful worship and music committee. Thank you, Diane Cox, Gary Gregg, Kathy Kudlak, Fred Newman, Charlie Repka, Jane Hassey-Smith, and Christian and Pastor Dan for their work on this committee and for their dedication and support. Any questions? Good. I just want to say, I've been a member of this congregation for 53 years, and it's been a long time, and it's been a joy. And there's no better place that I would rather be than on a Sunday morning here at St. Paul, listening to God's Word and hearing the choir sing. Today they had a good crowd in the choir this morning. It was great. And walking up the aisle to receive communion. I miss it around the table, but it's still good to be able to receive communion each Sunday. So, this church family was very special to Bob and to myself all these years. Thank you.
Thanks, Carolyn. We do have also a report from the Cub Scout Pack. We are the sponsor of Cub Scout Pack 53. How many of you were Cub Scouts or had a child who was Cub Scouts? That means you know about the Pinewood Derby? The trackers and the trailer got iced in. I guess they finally dug it out, but it was trapped by ice. So bad. It was 2 weekends ago, right? Was it first weekend or last weekend? Yeah. Week before last. We were snowed out. They had to get the track out. So, how they guess they finally dug it out. I don't know.
Cubmaster and I had a fun time up there.
Yeah.
But I had dynamite that weekend.
A little tough on the tractor and on the trailer, though, but okay. All right, moving along, the Financial Secretary's report. Greg?
Just to let you know, this is my first year in this post. And I just want to say thank you to all those that have been supportive of me and the church. From the tellers every Sunday, who are members of council, to our bookkeeper, Sharon Lachard, who's wonderful. Everything, ever have a question, I go to her and she gives me a straight answer and keeps me on the straight and narrow. To Kathy Katulik for her backup of me, especially the last couple of weeks. So I just want to say I'm grateful for your support, and I think we already kind of went through the report in terms of, it's on page 30, but our total income received was $331,000, and the budgeted amount was $338,300. We're, in my opinion, a very generous congregation, because in addition to that budgeted income, we gave another $90,000, almost $91,000. So that's all I really have to say, Stan.
Yeah, that's
Thank you. Any questions?
Thanks, Greg. Notice in Greg's report, we did fall shy income versus budget, but then it gets versus budget. However, actual was also underspent, so we did have a slight deficit, but overall it was fine. And Greg did an excellent job. He gave us a scare 1 month though, right, Greg? When the unfortunately only reported 2 weeks of income, so we were like $30,000 in the hole, but he quickly fixed it, so it's good. But he's just a prankster, I guess. I don't know what it is, but it was, yes. And we felt really good. We got the revised report too. This is good. So yeah. We also had the treasurer's report. Tom.
Another first. It's my first year as treasurer. And I find it somewhat, well, there's less time spent. Financial secretary is every Sunday. There's less time spent, but more numbers to go through and analyze. A couple things were mentioned already about the income versus expenditures, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time speaking to the report. The numbers are there. If you have questions, money comes in. We have the bookkeeper, Sharon Lachard. We have multiple programs that help us track everything, track the budget, and the checks are written and expenditures paid for. That's, I guess, how you do it through the years. If there's any specific questions, I'll try and answer them. And if there aren't, if they're specific to a committee, then maybe the committee chairs can answer as far as their budgets. Yes.
How is it working for the new pastor as far as salary and
How is it?
Well, we have we have to work with the synod. When we hire a new pastor, the synod will work with our council to determine the compensation. There are guidelines based on years of service. That sets the base salary. It's a fairly wide range. And then, of course, the question are whether they have a spouse and children, whose insurance we pay. They could be salary, could be either salary versus house. There's lots of things that worked out, but they're done with the synod. We also have to cover any costs for anybody moving here, for example. We have to cover all those costs as well. We may have to help loan the money to help buy a house if they do that. So we have something. There is one fund line. I think it's on.
I believe it's the mortgage escrow fund,
That one too. Also the
and then the other 20.
the interest fund. That interest fund at the bottom. Yeah, the realized gain and thriving. That's one. Yeah, realized gain and thriving down on page 34. That's being held in reserve to cover any of those expenses related to relocation of a pastor. So we have to wait until we find somebody. Then the synod will tell us the range of salary. Kind of go from there. Evidently, that's could be negotiable. 10-9 employees generally would pay the entire thing themselves. But in the MSP, there was a question about that, and that is negotiable. We could negotiate that, or the pastor may want to negotiate that. We could pay the same half you pay for their employee. That's a possibility as well. We don't know yet. Let's go, Chair. Yeah. But right now, well, we don't know. We won't know until it depends what their other coverage is. If the pastor has a spouse with medical, we only cover the pastor, or not a law. But if we have to cover everything, we cover everything. We may have to cover a spouse as well as children. In fact, when Bishop Bartholomew retired, she's Dan's spouse, so we have to cover her medical. So we have to. That's built into the budget this year. That's a possibility. So we won't know until we have a candidate. And again, work with the synod.
Let's say one thing is that's one of the things when we look at the budget in a few minutes is that the concern with the stewardship committee was to lift up the fact that we need to beef up the benefits section of the pastoral compensation by $10,000 to cover for the types of contingencies that we're talking about. So that's why that was a big jump and why we worked so hard to shade some other areas out in order to make that happen. My concern was that so you're in a position as a congregation so you don't have to panic when you then have a candidate and you need to get up to speed with that we're in a position to go ahead and be able to take care of that regardless of the contingency, with how much of that health care needs to be covered. Now, you could luck out and have a spouse who's covered with another agency or another employment, and I mean, that happens too. There's probably 8 different scenarios in terms of. So it's not like a company who says, we cover you and anybody else is your expense.
No, that is what we will do.
Tradition has tended to be to tend to the whole household. But my wife will tell you that that's not always the case. Some congregations are saying we just want to cover the employee and that's it. But that's not been the tradition. Corporations are tending to be. Well, or paying a share of health care too. So more and more people are paying a certain amount. I was just going to say, yeah. A lot of corporations, if you want family coverage, you pay for you can get the package of family coverage, but that's something that's a deductible out of your rotation.
Yeah.
We are the corporation. So we're going to negotiate that when the time comes. And Portico, correct, is our who we run the benefits through. We pay them for their packages. I think there's 3 packages they offer. So yeah, it's up in the air now as to what's going to happen. Anything else? Okay.
Thanks, Tom. Just a comment about page 31. You'll notice there are 3 funds listed there, right in the middle of that the bottom half. General Savings Fund, Reserve Fund, and Mortgage Escrow Fund. These funds were created by a standing resolution adopted in 1987. So their funding is based on 1987 actually, typicals, but those are way out of date. So we'll have to reconsider those as well. The general savings was meant to cover several months of expenses in case we couldn't meet. Well, that's now a month. It used to be they want 3 to 6 months. That's 1 month of spending. Reserve fund was meant to cover catastrophic failures of property. $15,000 was great in 82, 87, but our AC unit costs $60,000 now. So, and then the mortgage escrow fund, that's meant to be help the pastor buy a house. It's okay as a down payment. You can't buy a house. But in 87, you could buy a house for that much if you had to. So, but you know, times have changed. So those numbers are a little out of date. We have to revisit them at some point too. No, it's actually, hers is, it's actually, if you look at the one, it's actually the one for under, the one that says D. We spent it last year, there's $69 left over. We used it for scholarships for the camp. And this is unused scholarship money. So we'll probably use it again for the same purpose again, throw it in the pot for that. Yeah, we'll decide on that. It's only $69, but that would cover at least 70% of a scholarship for somebody. So, and then that'll wipe that one out. Also, look at page 34. I want to mention a couple of funds there as well. We have the Property Repair, Replace, and Improvement Fund, and also down below the Pending Council Designation Fund. These funds have been obliterated pretty much by the AC replacement. So they'll have to deal with that as well. The Property Committee is considering the possibility of having to cut a capital campaign. I mentioned this new sanctuary is not so new anymore. It's now built, again, the Cornerstone 2008. The roof is 17 years old. This roof would probably cost $100,000 to replace, maybe more than that, we don't even know yet. AC unit, one failed, $60,000. Other one's the same age. It's in great shape right now, but who knows? So other things we'd like to do too with property, but they're being considered. So that's a possibility. We'll get more about that later on. All right, that said, any more questions about the finances? Question over here?
Question on the $50,000 mortgage fund for the pastor. Is that a given? Is that a loan?
It was a loan. It's a loan. It's a loan, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Any questions about any of the reports so far? In that case, we have a motion from Neil.
I move to accept section 1 of the 2025 annual.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Who said that? Ken? You beat Gary to it.
No,
Gary.
he didn't.
Oh, he didn't? Uh-oh.
He didn't even try?
Oh, yeah, he was louder though, wasn't he? I don't know. All right, put both names in. We had so Gary and Ken seconded. Okay, that's fine. All in favor? Opposed? Moving along. Okay, very good. Off to then section 2. We have actually two motions here. First one pertains to the council. Every year we have any well, we generally have could anywhere from 0 to 4 people could leave the council. Their terms expire. In this case, Julie Egan, her term is over. So we have to replace Julie, and we're very fortunate to have Joe Westerberg accept the nomination. So I'll entertain a motion from, who's the motion number 2? Is that Chester? All right, Chester, you're on.
I move to nominate the following members of St. Paul Lutheran Church for election to the Congregation Council, class of 2028. Walter Engelberg, Jane Hassey-Smith, Stan McDonald, and Julie Westerberg.
We have a second. Gary, you intimidated everybody at time. Who did that, Bonnie? Was that Bonnie? Okay, thank you. We just have a little anomaly in our Constitution. We supposedly follow Robert's Rules of Order, which says that if you have candidates and no options, you can declare it unanimous. But our Constitution says we have to have a paper vote. So, yes. Sure, discussion, please. It does say 20. It's part of the annual meeting. The annual meeting is the mark. Yeah, that's what it means. It's actually now February 1st. It's a day late. So, but yeah, we're a little. Yeah.
But all of them should be a year later.
They don't serve through the year 2029. They expire in January of 2029. But it says January 2028. That's all they do. There are two different things here.
Technically, our year ends December 31st.
Yeah, actually, that should say 29. Yeah, all right. That should say. I see. Yeah, that's yeah. That is correct. Yeah, okay, that's true. Okay. So I guess one way to be. Do we have any other nominees for the council? And I'd like to move that we declare this this a unanimous vote for those candidates. Do I have a second for that? All in favor? Aye. Then Chris Chester's nomination. Vote do we approve the nominations of those 4 candidates? Aye. Okay. Aye. So good. So now we have the class is set. Walter, Jane, me, and Jill are our new member. Thank you. We also have to nominate 2 people to serve as voting members for the Synod Assembly. I forget. I don't think I'm with the date of this. So it's May 30th this year? Okay, yeah. Last year, this was a 3-day meeting because we had elected bishop. This year, it's probably a 1-day meeting. It'll be much more routine. Our candidates right now for voting are Carol Larson and Joe Westerberg. This is they can be swapped out later on. This is really just the placeholders. Well, Carol's going, what, 3 years in a row?
2.
2 years in a row, so, yeah. It's the lunch is great. That's why Carol likes to go, so the lunch is really good. So, yeah. So any further nominees as voting members? Hearing none. Do we have a second for that? So we have a motion. Motion? Motion was Paul. Yes, sir. Motion, Paul.
I nominate the following members of St. Paul Lutheran Church for election as lay voting members to the 2026 New Jersey Synod Assembly. Carol Larson and Jill Westerberg.
Second. Karen Galley, second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, moving along. Now we get the interesting part. Being page 2-2 is the 2026 income and expense budget. I guess that's Tom, you're in charge of doing this again? with Sharon as backup, right, Sharon?
Just let me clarify. You are in charge. I'm just a mere instrument here. Yes, these numbers that you see are formulated over at least 6 weeks, starting maybe mid-November through December to get to this point we are at now. They're refined again. The committees submit their budgets, they're looked at. We put it all together and we get the information from the pledges, do some analysis there, and we arrive with a income and spending plan, which you have in front of you. 2-2, 2-3 are the spending end of it. 2-4 is the income end. No, I'm sorry. Did I miss it? Okay, it's split at the top. Yeah, income, 2-2 at the top. I thought it was its own separate page, but no. So our proposed income for 2026 is $373,000, which is $10,000 more than 2025. You can see that right there in that bottom line. The pledges are not going to cover that, but we're expecting other income to cover it. We're hoping and expecting. Some of the disappointments maybe from this year was Christmas. Day camp is a line item in the budget this year. And the other ones are somewhat consistent. Any questions on the income end of it?
I do want to mention, notice we have $1,000 transfer from surplus fund. We are a little shy with income based on expenses. I would expect that we will underspend as usual. I think that will not be an issue. As I mentioned before, in the past we have had to have additional income sources. We generally had a reason, whether it be Hispanic outreach. We did one year, we had field ed students for many years. We paid for those other four. We had Lydia, for example, for several years. So we covered those we expected those expenses, and they're budgeted accordingly. This one we don't really want or expect. We don't want to be tapping to our savings to cover other costs. But this is the reality right this year. Again, if we underspend as we usually do, I think we'll be fine. So go ahead, Tom, sorry. Look down under total income giving. It's listed down below.
That's what was noted by Stan earlier on. Some of the IRA, people with IRA accounts, prepay for tax purposes their 2026 giving in 2025. So it okay, so it's a benefit to those who do that. For us, as the congregation, we have to record it as income for 2025. And then what we do is I don't know if prorated is the right word, but it's divided by 12 months and goes into giving, right? It shows up as an income over those 12 months, those next 12 months.
Tom's being rescued right now. Here comes Sharon.
Just for you to follow the numbers. So the regular giving line does not include prepaid pledges. But if you take that line item and then you go to the bottom, under total giving, you see transfer from prepaid pledge fund. So basically what we're saying is that those two numbers together, 320 and almost 36,000, that's regular giving, 356,000. We received in December from several households their pledges. So that was recorded in December. So if you actually go back to page 31, you can see there's a line on the bottom half, prepaid pledge. You can see that there was a beginning balance of 24,700. That's because in December of 2024, 24,700 was paid for 2025. So that was brought into income, to the operating income during 2025. During 2025, you see in the receipts column, 35,825. That's the income that was received in December, but it's to be applied to 2026 operating fund. So that's how the numbers tie together. So could we have shown it on the income spending plan together, 356? Yes. But I think it's important for you to kind of understand, how the numbers tie together. So if you take the regular giving of 320 and the transfer from prepaid pledge, that's a budgeted income of $356,000 on a total income of 373. So, and of that 356, we received $329,000 in pledges. So you have about another $28,000 that we're anticipating from non-pledging households. And that's consistent with the current year 2025's giving. And then you have your other regular line items, the smaller line items under the income. So does that answer the question about what prepaid pledge is? Yeah, you're welcome.
We receive it in 24, but we can't spend it until 2026.
But it has to appear on their contribution statement in the year it was given. So those people won't have if they don't give anything in 2026, they won't have anything on the 2026 contribution statement. But we have received their income. We've used their income. We've used that pledge to fund our operating expenses. Any other questions on the income side?
So we get to spending. Expenses. Mission support, staff, assistant clergy, music staff, support staff, and go on down the line there. All the way to the end. Total expenses for 2025 were 363. Proposed for 2026, 373. So an increase of $10,000, or a variance of $10,000. Take a moment. If you see any specific line items that you're having trouble understanding, maybe I can help. I don't know, they're pretty straightforward. If there's something that you don't understand where that particular line item goes to,
regarding mission support, you'll notice that we are $6,000 less than we were in 2025. Over the last several years, the Synod, every year we get a request from Synod for a certain amount of money. And unfortunately, those requests have always has increased, so our incomes are going down. Last year, the Synod wanted $76,000. We gave 71. This year they want 71. We're giving 65. That still amounts to over 70% of our income is still given to mission support, which is extremely high. We are still among the top 5 most generous with regard to both dollars given and also percentage giving. This is not sustainable, though, as long as less income increases. So we are going to have probably locked it into it. If you look at back a little farther historically, before COVID, we probably gave every year 15 to 6% of our income was spent on mission support. We're up to 20%. So this is year 17, we're gradually moving down back to where we were before COVID. That's the idea, get back down to pre-COVID levels. So, and still be, again, one of the most generous congregations in the entire Synod. So, the Synod average is less than 10%. And we're at 17. So we are way well above average. Yeah, and even that is much more than the average across the entire Synod is actually at this point about 8%. But there are many churches that don't put much money in. Among churches our size, we are still, again, among the most generous. So we have nothing to be, we still have a great legacy with this, and we still should be very proud of our contribution for this area. So.
The Synod operates the same way we do. They would like to have a hard number to work with each year, so they send out to all the congregations in Jersey basically a pledge card, and we make a commitment. The money they receive, the Synod doesn't keep all. They pass funding on to the ELCA, which I'm sure does the same thing. So that's how, I don't know if you want to call it outreach, but there's the money we give to the New Jersey Synod is spent worldwide, I would say.
Yes, what will happen is, first of all, the call committee will vote upon the candidate, and then they go to the council. The council will do the same thing, review all the information we received, all the questions, and we'll vote to proceed or not. Then we work with the Synod, and together with the Synod, we negotiate compensation. The Synod does have guidelines based on experience. Yeah, all the categories you see under staff, those are all part of the negotiation. What constitutes salary versus housing versus benefits, it all depends on the circumstances. We won't know, but that'll be finalized before we vote. The candidate we get who comes here to preach that day for vote will have a contract laid out that we and they've accepted. So. Oh, go ahead.
If we have a primary candidate, and then that goes through the approval of the call committee and council, on the day that the congregational meeting occurs, there will be two motions. The first motion is to vote whether or not to call the pastor. The second motion has to do with the entire compensation package. So there are actually two official motions that will be involved, okay? The work that we have done in terms of compiling and working on this budget and massaging it and going back and forth to try to make it work is an effort on our part to where we won't need to scramble when we get to the point where we have a candidate. We feel that we have the ample amount of resources for enough of the different scenarios to be able to do that at that time. But there will be a special congregational meeting to vote on the new pastor and to vote on the compensation, the total compensation package. Does that make sense? Okay.
And hope the candidate doesn't have 6 kids we have to cover the cost for. That's the only thing. A large family would really kill us, so. Yeah. Expense-wise, it might be. Go ahead, Jane. Yeah. Yeah. They have to pay full price, though.
Almost all of it. So that's a line that will be over budget again. Yes. But you can't control Mother Nature. Okay. So where are we going
Yeah, the hardest thing to do is estimate snowfall. I mean, you just never know. One year we have no snow, we drop it down, then next year we have more snow. You can't win. So it's a losing battle trying to guess how much it's going to snow. So. Any questions for Tom or for Sharon?
Just a couple more comments, Dan.
Go, Tom.
We're not alone in the call process. The synod has guidelines, and the call committee follows them. So we're in good hands with the call committee. I would anticipate there are a lot of questions regarding the new pastor because we've never done it before, or at least not in past 40-something years. So Carol can speak to some churches, her church, her former congregations did it, I don't know, a couple, 3, 4 times. So, yeah, it's a slow process. We have guidelines. We're financially prepared. And that's about all we can do.
Question over here.
Just another question. Sharon pointed out that property was under, just looking at it, it says repairs and general maintenance was the area that was light under. I'm just wondering, is that because of our wonderful property committee guys doing repairs themselves and not billing us? Or is it because we just lucked out? Just in general.
We do a lot of repairs ourselves. Or we try to. So we kind of make a decision. We handle that, or do we need to call someone to help us out?
Yeah, I'm just wondering because
It's a little bit of the timing as well, because if you look at last year, 2024, which is not right in front of you, but it's in my brain, we were almost overspent in that line item. So sometimes it is a little bit of.
I don't control the trees falling.
Right.
And we really haven't gotten out there with chainsaws doing the trees. Each area we
Correction.
Neil replaced what? You replaced the emergency lights yourself, right?
Last week,
Yeah.
actually Thursday, I replaced the emergency light at the Sunday school area. There was a light near the goat rack that went out. There was some ballast, so I replaced the ballast. And then, after I got done, I flipped the lights back on, and there's 2 other lights. There's two 8-foot U-tube, 4-foot U-tubes in each one. So there were 2 others that were missing. So I went there, one of them was full, there was some ballast. I replaced the ballast on Friday. That's when we came in and found thermostat. So it's a never-ending thing. When you kind of look at it, what is the end of it?
It's whack-a-mole.
Yeah.
I had the pastor in here Saturday and said how we could do certain things. And we get lucky sometimes, but also sometimes there's some that you don't want to tackle as a property because it may cause a bigger problem. Taking off a water line or taking a valve off. And we've done those things, but it might get taken off and now there's a giant problem.
this wasn't anything against you guys. It was just more
No.
how much we're benefiting by that.
And we saved money the last 2 weeks, not having church. That's not, electricity costs us a lot. That maybe is going to help us.
It's a bunch of old men, too. Don't forget that part. Any questions about the budget? Tom, any more things you guys want to say? Or Sharon? This does require a paper vote, paper ballot. But first, we have to have a motion. If everybody's ready, any more questions about this? Then we have a motion by Karen Galley.
I move to adopt the 2026 income statement.
Do we have a second? We have a battle again between Diane and Gary. You okay? You're okay with her doing it? All right, we have a second. All right, now again, we in the back there is a stack of ballots, some pencils, and baskets. Need a couple people to serve as tellers as well. You could pass these ballots out, and we'll continue the meeting while it gets done. Yeah, tough sun. Right, yeah. I was watching right across your face, yeah. Yeah, yeah, true. Yeah. Yes, sir. I think there are pencils back there. Anyone needs a pencil as well?
What are people going to say to indicate they accept?
Yes or no?
That's it.
On the ballot, simply write yes or no. The motion is to approve, yes or no. That's what I have to do is write Y or N. We have some too? Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Not yet, yeah. No, no. Yes.
You're not the only one who had to get a piece of paper.
Yeah, they're still chasing me all down. You can collect now, yes. Collects over here, collecting over here.
The next three are easy ones.
Yeah, these are straightforward. Well, unless we have to wait till the end, so.
Did we continue in our budget only accounting for 3/4 of the year for pastor?
No, it's a full year.
That's a
It's a
full
full year.
year,
It's full year, yeah. That's a little cushion we have in there,
I was
so,
trying to
yeah,
figure
it's
that
a,
one out.
yeah, it's a, well, he did, we did cut the last quarter for only for one benefits, only the benefits, and only a portion of that. So it's a little shy. It could be another couple $1,000s, but we're counting on finding a pastor.
Nobody will remember.
No, they won't. I'm not going to mention it there. So. All right, everybody ballot has been collected. Then while they tally them, we have a motion from Susan Engelbert. We have a second for that?
Greg.
Greg, second that? Any comment about that? All in favor? Opposed? Okay, moving along. We also have a motion from Charlie Repka. We have a second? Fred second? Any conversation about this? Question? Question, yeah. We will. Once it's done, yes. Our Constitution is from 2014. Every time the ELC meets, they have amendments and changes. So it's every 3 years. So there was just a meeting this year, so maybe more changes. We have been pretty true to the model one over the years. We don't expect any substantial changes to that. Our problem is really in bylaws and standing resolutions. Which are now rolled into the Constitution. So that'll be our challenge to figure that out. I don't expect any problem with the Constitution. Carol's been spending a lot of time looking through this. Okay, I have the results of the ballot. We have 40 votes yes for the budget, none opposed, so the budget carries. Let's see, we have, okay, yeah. We have the motion about the Constitution. Question? Any other question about that? Read the motion again. Charlie, read the motion again, please.
Motion to bring St. Paul's Congregation Constitution into conformity and compliance with all required provisions of the ELCA's model constitution for congregation.
And we had a second by Greg. Any question about this? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Before we close, any questions, comments, concerns, or new business?
Quick question. Everybody maybe can answer this. When you were up there talking about sponsoring a child, how do you do that? And I assume it's $100?
Yes. I don't know the procedure. Anybody?
Do you write a church to St. Paul and say sponsor child?
I guess so.
Yeah.
I don't.
Bible students sponsor child.
I think I don't think we have a fund in place, but we can currently create a fund for like day camp. If we have, that can be done. So pretty much, yeah, 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 yeah. A donation to that fund would create the fund automatically. So yeah, that's true. Yeah. Okay. Day camp, yeah, day camp. Okay, that's good. Okay. Regarding Living Lutheran, the magazine is now published quarterly, but we aren't funding that. So, but you can go online. It's $20 a year. You get four issues. I think we budget to buy, I think maybe a few house copies to keep here. Then maybe we'll take them to shut-ins, for example. But you can get a discount if you buy up more than 10 to like $17. So it's a lot of money for four issues, but also you can go online to get most of the articles are online as well, so that's always an option as well. So, okay. Anything else? Yeah, it could go there. It's just hope nobody steals it, but again, it's a church. Who's going to steal it? So it should be fine. Yeah. Anything else? Yes, go ahead. Yeah, we have talked about that in council as well. That would be helpful. We've had a bit of problem a couple of years with timing. We fall way behind, and all of a sudden we have a huge catch-up in late in the year. It's really frustrating to track that along the year. It'd be better if we knew what was happening along the year. So yeah, that's what we'll look into as well. Get that done more often. So, especially if people fall behind. What do you think, Sharon? Is that possible? Yeah, as I mentioned, the people who pledge, we got 99.4% of that money. They're not the problem. The problem is how to judge and get unpledged income. Yeah, that is the problem. I was surprised to look at some of the income. We were below budget on Easter. That's our Super Bowl, people. You know, people say, why is that? Christmas and Easter were both below expectation. That should never happen. But it's not because of lack of pledging. It's not that the issue that people pledge. People who don't pledge who come occasionally. So that's the reality. So that's a good point. So, anything else? Any other comments, questions, concerns, new business? All right, Fred, you're up.
I move to adjourn the 2025 annual meeting. Second.
Gary seconds that one. Look how quick he was doing that too. This motion is not negotiable, so thank you very much.